Hello, welcome to another episode of Garry's Mod Server Reviews, where today I shall be reviewing a zombie survival server run by a community called Artifia. The website and IP will be posted in the video description if you want to have a try. But if you don't know what zombie survival is, which is pretty strange as the title says it all, it's a team game where you have a group of survivors against a small amount of infected. These zombies then grow after they've killed some survivors, who then become zombies after they've been infected. Once all the survivors are killed, then the round ends and a new map is played. So first off, I looked at the server's population, which is clear to me that it did get populated quite quickly during the day, which is quite useful for this kind of game mode, as it does require you to have a good amount of players for it to be entertaining. But during the day I did find it was quite populated, and it was definitely populated during the UK peak times in the evenings. But I found the server quite entertaining when I was reviewing it, as rounds would last quite a fair time depending on how long the survivors lasted for. But even as an infected, I did find it quite entertaining. But when the map is like a singular building and the only way for a zombie to get through is the front door, holding it can be quite fun. But you also have several tools that you have at your disposal, such as a hammer to nail down props to a doorway or anything, which could slow the zombies down. So this would be quite useful for making barricades and all that, so that it takes them longer to get in. But obviously these props can be smashed down, else there will be no way for the zombies to get inside. So they just have to constantly hit the prop until it breaks, even if it's not wooden. But there's a certain amount of time for a wave of zombies to attack, in which you earn points by hitting or killing zombies. And there are also assist points, which you find in most games nowadays. That if you hit a zombie with a few bullets but don't kill it and someone else takes a kill, you still get assist points. But then you can buy weapons or ammo in the F2 menu with these points. Similarly, after each wave, the zombies have more classes to choose from, such as Wave 1 you'd be a normal zombie, then in Wave 2 you'd have the choice of being a fast zombie, and etc. But when you're a zombie, you have several classes to choose from, such as fast zombies or poison zombies. But poison zombies don't throw head crabs like they do in Half-Life 2, they spit acid instead. So this is quite useful if you're in a concealed room with survivors and manage to cover them in acid, as it does further damage to them once the acid has hit them. So even if you were to jump in there, spray them with acid, then die, you'd be able to do some more damage to them, as it would hurt them after you'd be dead. But there are some nice additions to this game mode, such as when you're infected as a survivor, your body rose back up after you died. So, for example, if you were killed by a zombie and you see your body fall down, you die, you then get back up in an animation, so then you become a normal zombie. So it's quite realistic in terms of, say, if you look at the movies and people get infected, they obviously turn into zombies themselves and become a big threat to the survivors they're currently with. So it was quite entertaining when you were turned into a zombie the first time, as you'd oftenly be in a room with other players that you could just jump on them and kill them. But a problem I did find with the players on this server was that there wasn't enough communication between the survivors, which is quite essential in this kind of game mode. But not only that, but people were looking for kills more than surviving. I mean, like in Modern Warfare 3 and those kind of games, people often go for kills rather than the actual game mode itself. So you'd often find people barricading themselves in a room and leaving most of the survivors outside, which is quite selfish of them, if you ask me, because they should be helping out, trying to keep the zombies at bay, but rather than that, they're hiding away, so that then when they're the last people, they've got all the zombies coming for them so they can get the most points. But looking at the game mode as a whole, I'd say it's definitely worth playing and having a go at, simply because it gives like a sort of Left 4 Dead feeling to it, except that all the zombies are special infected. But I did find it very entertaining when I had to barricade myself in a room or cover a major doorway to stop them advancing into the room I was in. Even when I had a few players with me and we were all trying to barricade the door, zombies were trying to break through, in which we had small holes in the barricade to shoot them with. But even as a zombie, I found it entertaining. I mean, lots of people would think that being a survivor is the only fun part of it, and being a zombie is quite boring. But due to the variety of classes you had, it was actually quite entertaining being a zombie. So I didn't mind if I was infected. But there was a variety in your classes, such as there's a class called the Ghoul, in which you can partially go invisible when you stop moving. So it's good tactics if you crouch as a ghoul, so you're half invisible. So usually if it's a dark map, people don't notice you, so you can then jump on people's backs or something like that. and just ambush them in anywhere. There's a portion of strategy to this game mode, even if you're a zombie. But there are several waves to a map, with intervals in between to allow the survivor to stock up on ammunition or purchase new weaponry in the F2 menu. So but in this, if you're infected and you die during that wave, you then become a crow in which you can fly around the map, which is slightly better than having a spectating camera, as you can kind of control it more, and it's not as if you're just sitting there watching people. So you can fly into a barricade and see the holes in it and see if you can find a weak point in it where you can hit and then jump in with the rest of the infected. But looking further into the community, I didn't notice if there were actually any administrators or not, simply because there were no players who needed to be punished. So, I mean, admins should always make their presence known so that if a player does have a question, they can ask them and they'd get an answer instantly. I mean, I know there was a point when I was playing that a player didn't understand how to nail something to a door, and there was this other player who was getting quite annoyed with him simply because he didn't know how to play. But this was like really unfair to him, because even I didn't understand how to do it, but he was getting quite annoyed with him and not actually telling him how to do it. He just went, "Oh, nail that to the door. Why are you not nailing it?" and all that. But that was probably the biggest problem I found with it. But overall, I'd definitely rate this server an 8 out of 10 due to several things, such as the good points would include the game mode being entertaining, the server being populated, and the variety of things to do as zombie or a survivor. But the bad points with this community would be that the quiet players, just that there should be a lot of communication in this kind of game mode, and I just didn't get any of that. But there were a few players who didn't like teaching new players how to play, but such as the example I just told you, and there are a few others where people didn't understand what they were doing, asked around in the server and nobody answered. But I would still definitely give this server an 8 out of 10, and I'd definitely say it's worth playing. Thank you for listening, please subscribe to see more, and if you have a server that you want to be reviewed, then send me a message and I'll be sure to check out the server.